I wanted to talk today about s- validation. And this guy told a story. I've been watching these videos that are trying to encourage you to go for it, to be a course creator, to be a coach, to be an influencer, and to help people with talents that you have. This guy was talking basically about self-validation. When we're children, we start off and we want the approval of our parents. We need the permission of our parents. We need to be affirmed by our parents before we feel like we can do something. We have to know that we're doing a good job. And we also get that from our teachers too when we're in school. But the thing is that it doesn't really stop when you turn 18 because for most of us, you go and you get a regular job, 9 to 5 job. And now you have a boss and a company that you look to for approval, that you look to for validation, and that you're doing a good job. And you you seek permission to say, I'm okay, I'm doing a good job. I can do this. So in a sense, it's sort of like the company, the supervisor becomes like your daddy, that I can't get validation or approval unless I get it from someone else. And we can also do this with our peers, with our friends, that we feel like before I can move forward with this new idea that I want to do, with this new venture, this new way of living, I have to have someone's approval. May even be your own spouse. And that's the whole point, is that we need to move beyond that. We need to move to a point to where we can validate ourselves. We can give ourselves permission. We can approve of ourselves. We can evaluate ourselves and move forward in life. And he kind of tells a funny story because he said he was working at a very high-end shoe store in New York. And sometimes celebrities and whatnot would come into that store. It was a women's shoe store. And he was hoping maybe one day Tony Robbins would come in and tell him that, yes, you can be a full-time YouTuber, you can be an influencer, you can make a difference with your spiritual teaching and whatnot. And he kept waiting for that day when Tony Robbins was going to show up and tell him he could do it, waiting for someone else's validation, someone's approval, someone to basically give you that encouragement. And Tony Robbins never came into the store. He never got that validation. He eventually had to find it in himself. And I can sort of relate to that too, because I've always been someone that needed approval, that needed to hear that, yeah, you're doing a good job. This is good. Go forward with it, you know. And it's really difficult for me. One thing that was hard for me was when my dad died, I didn't have someone there to say, you're doing a good job. And then you might sort of start to look towards your spouse and hopefully, if you're hoping, okay, well, they're going to give you that validation like your dad did. And it's like, oh, I don't hear it. And that can be very disturbing. Like you write a book and you don't get accolades for it, or you're wanting to do this or that. And maybe you're not only not getting the validation, but you're kind of getting criticism from people around you, loved ones and whatnot. And this is why it's so important to just find the validation in yourself, to give yourself approval and validation, to give yourself the permission. And I'm starting to do that myself. I haven't fully arrived there, but I'm just going to go forward and do what I think I should do. and however successful it is however successful it is. And don't worry about outside validation. And that's what we're going to try to be doing now is just learn to evaluate yourself. You don't need me to tell you you can do this. You don't need anyone else. Look within yourself. Find the approval within yourself. And it's kind of weird is I'll tell you this story. I kept hoping maybe I'd go to bed at night and I would get God would tell me everything's fine, you're doing good. And I never really heard that. I did hear, like I said before, that uh, my higher self said, I love you. But beyond that, it wasn't really like you're doing this and that and everything's great. I did sort of hear one time a few years ago that, you're on track, don't worry about it. But I never really got like a very strong validation. And I'm just finding that you need to just go forward. Find it in here, stop looking out there. And we'll go ahead and do a meditation on this. So close your eyes, relax, get comfortable. Just taking a few deep breaths. Breathe in deeply through your nose and exhale. Breathe in deeply and exhale. Breathe in deeply and exhale. This next, this next breath, let's breathe in pure white light of love and compassion. Exhale any fear or doubts. Now just breathe in normally through your nose and comfortably. Imagine yourself sitting on a beautiful shoreline at the beach. There's white sand, beautiful blue sky. It's warm. Maybe there's just a slight breeze in the air. You can hear the roar of the ocean. You can hear seagulls flying by. Maybe you see patches of clouds in the sky. As far as you can see, looking out, you can see ocean for miles and miles. Now take a moment to think of the people in your life that you've sought validation from or seek validation for right now. Who is it in your life? Is it your parents, your spouse, your boss, friends, coworkers? Who do you seek validation from? Who's become that daddy to you? Now, as much as you love them and respect their opinion, Look within your own soul and see that you have everything you need, the skills and the resources and the love and the compassion, anything you need to validate yourself. Give yourself the ability to approve of you. Allow yourself to give you permission to move forward in life. If you have an idea for something, what is that idea? What would you like to do with your life? What would you like to do over the next few years? Now look within your heart and allow yourself to just give you permission to move forward. You don't need any external approval. You only need it within yourself. You have the ability to do what you want, when you want, as long as you're not hurting anyone. Go forward in your life. You're a strong, capable, compassionate person. Just tell yourself right now within your soul, I approve of you. You are worthy. You have dignity and strength. You have ability. You've got this. You can do this. The only one's approval for anything that you need is you. It's like the vastness of the ocean. You have the ability to do so many good things in your life, to go to so many places. Open doors for yourself. The only validation you need comes from within you. Just take a moment to feel love for yourself. Like imagine from your heart a beautiful white light enveloping you and giving you a hug. And in that hug is unconditional love and compassion. Allow your heart to be at peace. Don't worry about whether you fail or succeed. Simply move forward with a heart of love and no fear. Take a moment to sit on the beach and enjoy the warm air. Before we close out, let's take in one final deep breath. Breathe in deeply through your nose. And exhale. And when you're ready, you may open your eyes.